There's a subtle trap woven into the way we perceive the world. A trap so familiar, so invisible, that most will never notice it. We mistake the descriptions of reality for reality itself. We confuse the symbol with the thing, the word with the experience, the menu with the meal. It's a strange blindness, one that fills our minds with labels, definitions, concepts, convincing us that knowing about something is the same as knowing it. You can read the menu, memorize every ingredient, even imagine the taste. But no amount of description will ever feed your hunger. You must taste it directly. Yet this is how most of us navigate life. We study happiness, read about love, discuss freedom. But rarely do we actually step into the raw, unscripted experience of simply being. Our minds crave certainty, and symbols give us the illusion of control. A word feels safer than the mysterious flow of life. A belief feels sturdier than the vast unknown. But in that reliance, something is lost. The direct encounter, the living moment, the truth that exists beyond language. The sky is not the word sky. The ocean doesn't know it's called ocean. And life doesn't need to be named to be lived. As children, we were immersed in direct experience, the sound of the wind, the texture of the earth, the warmth of the sun. Before words, there was only presence, but slowly, the world was translated for us. This is a tree. This is good. This is bad. This is who you are. And with every label, the rawness of experience was replaced by a mental map. A map that tells us where to go, who to be, what to believe. But a map is not the territory. It cannot capture the scent of rain, the depth of silence, or the taste of freedom. We become trapped in narratives, stories about success, about failure, about what life is supposed to be. And without realizing it, we start living in a simulation of life. A life made of words, expectations, and judgments. This is why so many feel empty, even when they have everything, because they have collected symbols, not experiences, titles without meaning, possessions without presence. The more we seek life through concepts, the further we drift from life itself. Like mistaking the painting of a river for the feeling of water on your skin. The question is, how do we return? How do we break free from this illusion of the menu and finally taste the meal? To step beyond the illusion of the menu is not about rejecting knowledge. It's about remembering that knowledge is only a tool, not the thing itself. Words are fingers pointing to the moon. But if we stare at the finger, we miss the moon entirely. And this is what most of us do. We look at life through the lens of thoughts, concepts, and beliefs, rarely tasting the raw experience that is always here, beneath the noise. Have you ever noticed how you can read about peace, listen to endless talks about mindfulness, even memorize spiritual texts, yet still feel restless, anxious, disconnected? That's because ideas about peace are not peace. Descriptions of silence are not silence. The word love is not love. Our suffering often comes not from life itself, but from the constant commentary about life inside our minds, the relentless inner voice that labels, judges, compares. That voice builds a wall between you and reality. But here's the paradox. Reality was never hiding. It doesn't need to be found, only noticed. It's in the sound of your breath right now. It's in the weight of your body against the chair. It's in the simple sensation of being alive. Before the mind rushes in to explain it, The moment we stop chasing life through concepts, a subtle shift happens. The colors seem richer, the air feels fresher, the smallest moments, a smile, a breeze, a sip of water, become profound. This is the invitation, to drop, even for a moment, the compulsion to define, to analyze, to label, and simply experience. Because the truth cannot be captured in a sentence. It can only be lived. And so the question arises, what happens when we stop confusing the menu with the meal? When we set aside, even briefly, the endless descriptions, the doctrines, the mental scaffolding, we come face to face with the only thing that ever truly existed, the direct experience of being. Alan Watts once said, "Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth." It's an impossible task, because the one who tries to observe is the same as what's being observed. There is no distance between you and life, except the one created by the mind. We've been conditioned to believe that understanding life means explaining it, that enlightenment is some grand intellectual realization. But the truth is far more simple and far more intimate. It's the rustling of leaves in the wind. It's the sensation of your heartbeat in the quiet of the night. It's the smile of a stranger, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the vast silence behind every sound. Life doesn't need to be understood to be lived. In fact, the more we insist on understanding it through words and labels, the further we drift from its essence. This is why so many spiritual traditions speak of surrender, of unknowing, of returning to a childlike gaze, free from preconceptions. A child does not need to name the clouds to enjoy the sky, does not need to measure the breeze to feel its touch. And maybe freedom has always been like this, not something we acquire, but something we remember, a natural state buried beneath layers of concepts, judgments, and mental noise. The world becomes alive again the moment we stop standing apart from it with words and start merging with it through presence. You are not a separate observer of life. You are life, unfolding, breathing, moving, sensing. The map is useful, the teachings are helpful, but never mistake them for the territory. Never mistake the menu for the meal. As Alan Watts reminds us, the real you is not a puppet which life pushes around. The real deep down you is the whole universe. When you stop looking for life in the pages of thought, you start tasting it directly, intimately, fully, and in that sacred silence beyond words, you realize the meal was always here.